Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining. This is Sharon Shaw, the President of Integrator Support speaking. Just want to thank you all for your time again this Tuesday morning. As usual, we will try to keep this to 30 minutes or less. We know how busy you all are, and we want to just keep it as simple as possible. Unfortunately, one of my guest speakers that was going to be joining us today actually is the victim of that nasty flu that's been going around. So I gave him a nice long lecture about taking flu shots. But anyhow, I will go ahead and share with you sort of the story about how to get started, what we found is working. As a recap, the last couple of weeks we've talked about these two things. We've talked about getting buy-in as a leader of your organization as you're getting started in this path to managed services. And then we've also talked about what the process is like to compensate your sales team and kind of align everybody and get everybody on the same page. So now what I'm here to talk to you about is more of that nitty-gritty detail stuff. A lot of you have reached out in the last couple of weeks, and we've started finalizing your specific comp program and your specific training program. I understand that everybody is in a different place. Some of you have gone through some training. Some of you are brand new to this stuff. Some of you have already made some sales. So I'll try to make today relevant to everybody. And I think you'll find that even if you've already started on this path, that some of the lessons we've learned and the arrows that some of the pioneers have taken for us, we can share those stories today and really talk about what's going to make us all successful. So what you're looking at, I'm not going to do death by PowerPoint today, but what you're looking at is our 90-day implementation program. And some of you have participated in this and some of you haven't. But basically what this incorporates is a marketing program and a hands-on sales support system. So basically what we do is we prepare your company for this rollout. So as we've talked about it, getting your champions selected, making sure we identify any of their concerns, making sure that the expectations are being managed for everybody and all of that. Some of you will be ready to launch this in February. Some of you might need to take February to finish getting your ship steered in the right direction. But we will be offering this starting next week as far as launching the marketing communications program and all of that. So please do pay attention to some of those details, and we can make sure to get you through that list of things that needs to happen so you can be ready to implement. Once you're ready to implement, this is what we do for you. We have 90 days worth of content out of our 411 program. Now, for those of you who have had your salespeople attend the sales training, which happens 1 hour later than this call each week, they may have come back to you last week and talked about it. So basically, our 411 program is 4 email blasts a month, 1 webinar a month, and 1 physical mailer each month. We've found that that level of consistency is what's working for our dealers. So to get that process started, we need to get your logo if we don't have it already. We will go through that overview meeting. We need to have your company meeting in preparation of this. And then what we'll want to do is make sure that if you don't have your salespeople on the hour later call, make sure your salespeople start attending our sales calls. Also make sure that if you have project managers or other key players that need to be involved as systems start getting online, make sure that they start attending the project manager one, which is on Thursday. But anyway, so what we'll do during the implementation period is we'll start using the marketing program, which means it's going to generate interest. We will generate leads. In addition to that, we will have a minimum of 1 call per week with your sales team. That will make sure that everybody's keeping, this as part of their everyday life, that they're thinking about it, they're not forgetting about it. As new opportunities come to your pipeline, we'll review what else are you guys working on, and do these opportunities fit with the managed services theme. We'll also continue this training as we've talked about, and basically start utilizing some of the resources, the physical resources we have available to you as well. Those resources will be demonstrated in our sales meeting in 1 hour. So if you really want to get a hands-on look at what those look like, make sure you register, you have your sales managers, sales professionals register for today, because we'll be going over that in detail. So what does this mean for you as an owner? Basically, this is how we hit the ground running. We've tried this in a few different forms. Sometimes we have the type of dealer that says, I don't really have a big enough list, or I don't know if I want to send it to all of my customers, or I don't really have an organized email list or mailing list. You know, those are things that you need to delegate and get your administrative team to help you get that list together. The companies that have a list of over 100 people, we're seeing a very significant generation of business for them. So I'd say if I were to give you sort of a rough estimate, I'd say about 5% of the mailing list that we've been mailing to has started to either order or get proposals and get moving in that direction of getting these services online. And out of that 5%, I'd say probably half of them are actually prospects that have ended up as customers by the end of it. So this is a big deal. So again, I need to get you guys, if you haven't done the stuff that we've been talking about, if you don't know about your comp plan, if you're not sure, we need to get that piece going, okay? So that is the 90-day implementation program. So let's take a quick look at what, in a little bit more detail, that program really entails. Starting off, this is the dealer marketing program. So we will have email campaigns, all these things that we've talked about. Other things that we've made sure to help our dealers with are like their website. I'm not sure, you know, if you guys have an easy to edit type website, but it is really important as you go out to the market and you start really trying to re-identify and rebrand your company as a service-based company, that your website reflects that culture. So we have kits, and this is part of what we've learned over the past several months, that take the same kind of language we're using in the brochures, so everything is really nice and clean and seamless, and some pictures. We have video clips that you can basically copy and paste into your website and have a tab or a landing page that will identify how these services can benefit the customer and why they should go with you to get these services. So that's something else to think about, is how flexible is your website. When I talk to dealers about hosting a webinar, they feel a little apprehensive a lot of times, maybe because they've never done it before, maybe because they feel, you know, it's complicated or what's the investment. All of these things, you guys, are complimentary. We're not here to try to make money on marketing. We're here to help generate business for all of us. So with regards to the webinar, I'll tell you that the companies that really promoted it did a good job with that, had about, I'd say, 20% of the attendees like register for it, and then of that 20%, you know, like I mentioned before, that 5% has actually converted to some sort of a sale. We will handle the logistics. We do this all the time. As you're attending this webinar now, we'll use the same system you're attending right now. We'll develop the PowerPoint. We will deliver the actual presentation. Typically what we do is have somebody like the owner or VP of sales from your company do the introduction and explain, you know, this is why our company is headed in this direction, and I'm going to introduce Sharon Shaw. And then I'll come in, and I won't represent Integrator Support. I will represent your company and just educate them on these things that we're learning about. You know, what are the advantages to virtual guarding? How can I save money or reduce my losses? You know, what are the advantages to hosted access control? And why would I want someone else to manage that data? That type of information through to their customer. The customers are learning, and they're figuring out ways they can take advantage. So don't be scared of the webinar. Now, one thing we've learned, Advanced Technology, one of our dealers up in the New England area, did a webinar, and they had a prize. They did a prize. They gave away an iPad for, one attendee. It was a random attendee that would receive the iPad. And that helped boost their attendance quite a bit. So it doesn't have to be an iPad. You could give away an iPod. You could give away a tablet. For a couple $100, you could secure some significant leads. So I will tell you that the drawing, the prize, worked. And so it's definitely something that we'll want. I'll email this out to everybody who's on this call today, but it just helps remind all of us, what are the things that we should be using? What are all the mediums that we can be leveraging to get these words out? I got a call the other day from one of our dealers up in the Michigan area. They have a BOMA presentation coming up for the Building Owners and Managers Association. So we're going to do the same kind of message we would do through the webinar. They're going to present live at the BOMA presentation. So it's just taking the same content and reusing it and feeling confident and comfortable with it. Okay, so let's go on to the next topic here. I wanted to show you a quick example of what these email blasts look like. This is just one that you can see incorporate right here on the right-hand side. And then down here is just the content, and it's just an educated, informative approach. We had one dealer that took this same kind of content, and they had a picture on the left of a guard sleeping at their desk and a picture of the right using this picture and showing, the old way versus the new way and how much more effective our security programs can be when you use a true, professional security service, and you're using a managed service where everything is audited and time-stamped, and the customers have access to a web portal so they can verify that what is supposed to be happening is happening and nobody's sleeping on the clock. Not to mention the fact that the new way is a lot less expensive. So that's another thing to think about here. Okay, moving on to sort of the next phase of what else do we need to do to really get ready. I alluded to it last week very briefly, but I felt like I needed to share this quick brochure. We've partnered with a company called the Vector Firm, a gentleman named Chris Peterson, who really dives into your organization and can really do a hands-on approach to what needs to happen, what personalities, are going to be the best suited to make this work. Maybe is there any conflicting messages in regards to incentive programs? Is there anything in your process, your sales cycle, if you will, that could be a bottleneck or cause you to lose your effectiveness as you're marketing managed services? So Vector Firm takes a variety of these kinds of topics and does a hands-on approach of consulting. He's actually working with one of our dealers right now. He's finishing up his managed services diagnostic review. Actually, I believe he's presenting that content to them and what kind of advice he's going to be giving them after he's done that report. So the awesome thing is that you can get 5% off as an integrator support dealer. You can save money on the Vector Firm service. But this is definitely something to consider. If you're one of those ships that really needs a significant redirection, and maybe you have lots of branches, maybe you have just a really diverse sales force, maybe you have some new managers. I'm not sure what is going on in your world, but those are some of the situations that the Vector Firm can really help reduce the time to market and make your market penetration much more effective once you actually go out and do it. So please do consider this. If you have any questions about this, let me know. But this is definitely something worth considering. And the next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is doing is sending this matrix out. You can see that basically this matrix has a list of products. It talks about if there's a specific firmware version or software version that we need to make note of. Those are listed here. And it just goes into detail about what feature sets and functionality we can integrate to for that particular product line. So what I've been having champion, their technical champion, and start highlighting what are the products we're willing to take on. What are the IP cameras and encoders we like to use? What are the NVRs we like to use? How about video analytics? What about voice over IP? What about access control? Those are all the things that we need to make sure that we have in place. I think I told this to the sales team, I don't remember when, a couple weeks ago, but we used to give advice about use this, use that, and that's it. But what I've found is that it's not necessarily that you guys are looking for new solutions. In most cases, it's the question of which of the products that I already sell, that I'm already trained on, that my technicians already are ready to maintain, which of those products are integrated to the system. That's basically the answer that we're looking for here. So that way, as we start promoting things and we start bundling things and talking about packages, it will be so much easier to put those packages together when we already know what the pieces and the parts are going to be. So I'll email this out to each of you. This, we're missing video analytics. I'll figure out what we're missing, and then we can fill in those gaps. But we do need to have this piece ready to go before we go into the promotion. All right, so there's one more thing here that I wanted to show you guys. And this is, again, something that we'll be talking about in the sales training today. But I just wanted to touch on it so that you're aware of what, if people come back and they're wondering, how to get started. And I'm hoping that your sales team will come back really jazzed and excited today, saying, we need to get started. This is what we need. I feel more confident now. I understand it now. But this is our sales manual that will take your sales team from that initial interview process of taking the phone call. Maybe it's a lead that comes in from a program we do. Maybe it's just a standard prospect, a regular old prospect that comes through the normal way you guys generate your business. But they take this cover sheet, they list what the information is, they put their name here, that's your salesperson, and we'll brand this for your company. This is their checklist of the things that they need to do as they start selling and getting things ready to go. These are the questions they need to ask the customers to get the answers. And as they get these answers, I'll be able to help, identify how to apply the different services and abilities that we have to meet the needs of your customer. This is the stuff they'll need to look for during their site survey. Sometimes there's equipment already on site that we can work with. We have, as you saw, that list is rather extensive of integration. So we can, in many cases, work with legacy systems and just simply redirect the IP address so that we're able to open up that port and access that. So if there is stuff on site, this is where they make note of it. This is a needs assessment tool that just helps them identify, and I train them on how to use this, identify, which type of service might be the right fit for your customer. These are some specific application-based sales pieces. Again, we'll put your logo here, but basically we've seen that protecting outdoor assets is a big, big, big market for us. Property management is another one. So these are the two that we've focused on, but we have some others that are more specific that we can share with them, but these are probably the two most common. And then these are just a couple pieces that talk about how things have evolved from sort of your traditional server-based access control to now hosted and centrally managed access control. And similarly, in the area of video surveillance, sort of your traditional just DVR or server on site to either a hosted model or a managed model, meaning monitored, meaning, having somebody else really take control of that surveillance system and use it to your benefit. So that is what we're going to be talking about later today with the sales team. And lastly, the thing that I wanted to show you is this trifold as well. This is something that we've put together based on some of the feedback where the sales manual, it answers a lot of questions, it walks everybody through, it's really good step by step. But for that real quick kind of elevator pitch conversation and that quick, here is a thing, one piece of information that you need that will explain how all this stuff works. That's what this piece does for you. So this one talks about virtual guard services. We have another one that talks in general about managed security services and incorporates the access control side of things as well. But you can see that, again, we'll put all your company information in here, and it just addresses how virtual guarding is delivered. And there's just these basic ways that we monitor, and it just makes it easy for your sales team to have talking points as to what it is that they are able to offer, and it just simplifies that process. And there is one final thing that I wanted to talk with you all about. Looking at the people on this call today, I think about half of you have already done this, but we do need, as we get started, to get a dealer agreement executed between us. So as we start this the marketing and the promotion, we have a standard dealer agreement that's an umbrella contract between your company and integrator support. And we also have some subscriber agreement templates that you're welcome to utilize in your contract with your customer. You are my customer, and your customer is your customer. So we're not contractually tied to the end user at all. We're just contractually tied to you. And then for each site you bring on, you submit a purchase order. And it's a pretty standard one-page form that just tells us what site address, which package you're going with, when does it start, when does it end, and sign and date at the bottom. for your time. It looks like you have about 2 minutes before we're supposed to be finishing up. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type those in. And then last but not least, again, please, please, please sign your folks up for the call in now it'll be in 30 minutes. So what is that, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific? If you guys could go ahead and get them signed up, because we're going to be going into a lot of detail about the services, how to use PowerPoints that we make for you, and how to leverage the sales manual. So again, I'll stay on the line for a couple minutes. For those of you who want to send over a chat message question, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, thank you all again for your time today. Make sure you get the email list put together, all your contact lists for your promotion. Make sure you have all the things that we've talked about to date put together, so that way All right. Well, thanks everybody again for your time today. I look forward to working with each of you and making you all successful. And feel free to contact us at any time. For those of you who were in a chat, I'll keep it open right now. But for those of you who aren't, just go ahead and hang up, and hopefully I'll talk to you all and your sales team again here